If you think they're going to give you your country back without a fight, you are sadly mistaken.
It's a huge development for Steve Bannon to leave the White House. He was in part a keeper of the flame of one element of Trumpism. And for him to depart means that there is nobody of his prominence or significance within the inner circle at this point who can quite carry that on in the way he did. Exactly why this happened, we don't know. Was it because he gave this interview to the American Prospect unexpectedly, in which he made some very strong comments about the president's policies and himself and what he was doing within the administration? It may have been that finally things, reached a tipping point and he's gone. In one way, it did not come as a shock to people, I think, because he had been seemingly on the outs for a while. On the other hand, there's no way to underplay its significance. The importance of Steve Bannon is that Stephen Bannon had a worldview. It was of economic nationalism and populism, and some said it was also of white nationalism. He always denied that. I think on some core issues, the president shares exactly the same thinking as Stephen Bannon, whether it is on trade and the approach to trade, whether it's on immigration, whether it is on ISIS. Bannon's departure from the White House doesn't mean those disappear. Bannon has been a controversial enough figure for a long enough period of time that the president would have had conversations with people about whether he should stay or go. And I think the arrival of John Kelly as the new chief of staff was a moment in which that had to be reevaluated. It's important to note that Steve Bannon was one of the first two people named by the president to the White House staff, along with Reince Priebus. Both are now gone. What does that tell you about what Donald Trump's thinking is? It may be that his thinking hasn't changed at all.
And I like him. He's a good man. He is not a racist, I can tell you that. He's a good person. He actually gets a very unfair press in that regard. But we'll see what happens with Mr. Bannon. But
it tells us that this has been the most tumultuous and dysfunctional White House in modern memory. I think the question now is, what can Steve Bannon do from the outside that he either did or was not able to do from the inside?